What do all atheists have in common? They loathe hypocrisy. They believe we are all we have for each other here. They believe in personal responsibility and accountability. They believe actions speak louder than words, and lying is reprehensible. Do you know who else values these on the same level? Jesus Christ. So-called followers of Christ these days and in centuries past share a different vision of what it is to be a Christian. Those that come quickly to mind include, but are not limited to, intolerance, segregation, quote unquote, this world is not our home. Loving one's neighbor is severely limited to if one's neighbor shares your ideals and dogma. Lying is considered an attribute if it, quote unquote, saves souls or, quote unquote, grows the church. Personal responsibility and accountability is covered under faith in God. And hypocrisy is found within their indignant attitude towards actually studying the Bible from front to back, using the original languages to avoid mistranslation and confusion. Because after all, we all know by now that the Bible has been translated into 518 countries in 2,798 languages, from the biblical languages of Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. By oversimplifying the original manuscripts, we painfully miss out on context and the diverse way of looking at the stories. Without a basic grasp of how the life and culture of that time was, also leads to a place where you may as well be reading Lord of the Rings, because like Lord of the Rings, you have no background information of elves and hobbits. The same applies to, in the case of the Bible, the Israelites or the Egyptians. You're reading the Bible as you would a fictitious novel, not as the sacred historical love note from God Almighty that you claim. Hypocrisies abound when you claim the irrefutable knowledge of the Bible but cannot stand firm on any part of it for lack of understanding. If you claim to be a Christian, then your priorities would encompass Christ's life choices and attitude. What Christ was not: judgmental. He healed, associated with, and befriended both non-believers and believers alike. Although he would say, "Sin no more," there were several instances where he did not discriminate, even whilst knowing his miracles would not change their minds. Jesus Christ was not hypocritical. We see him working on the Sabbath, breaking laws left and right by spending his time with the lowest of the low, prostitutes, tax collectors, and the poor, never preaching about building churches, tithing, or spreading his message by talking. He went out and did it. He got his hands dirty and let his actions speak for him, then told people, "Do what I am doing." Jesus Christ was not hateful or intolerant. The only thing we see Jesus Christ hating were ideals and dogma, but never people. Let that sink in for a moment as you picture modern-day Christians lobbying against entire groups of people, such as homosexuals. Jesus told us very succinctly exactly what he loved and exactly what he hated. He loved people. He especially loved people who loved people like he did. It is a perfect love that casts out fear. What does this love look like? It's kissing a leper on the mouth. It's not only giving the shirt off your back, but your shoes too. It's taking the time to understand people without allowing judgment or intolerance to enter into it, and using common sense. So drop your hofty ideals and dogma, fellow neighbors. Get out and get your hands dirty by loving one another just like Christ did. Regardless of what label you want to give yourself, atheist, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Sikh, or Hindu, if you embody the moral guidelines of Jesus Christ or other spiritual gurus before and after him, you are living like a child of God. Because, after all, Christians do not have a monopoly on God. God is neither female nor male, and God does not have a religion. God is an atheist.